chapter 65, verse 13. Therefore, thus says the Lord Yahawah, behold, my servant shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servant shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servant shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. I want to give all praises and honor to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, RAWCHAA, QADASH, forgive me the spirit, to do this lesson. This lesson is going into a testimony that happened about 15 to 16 years ago, okay, that has to do with the spirit of what I'm reading, okay, because the scripture is referring to Jacob's trouble, all hell breaking loose, the store shut down, okay, there's no access to food, and you have to depend on the Lord, okay, and miracles and divine intervention from Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, all right? But the point is, even before Jacob's trouble, you have to believe, okay, that the Lord is going to come through for you no matter what, okay? Period, man. Your belief is not just about Jacob's trouble. Your belief in this grace period is to build your belief from glory to glory, okay, your faith from glory to glory, leading up to Jacob's trouble, okay? So you're exercising your mind within the spirit. Okay, we have to understand that we were not called to this truth to not believe. You were called to believe. Okay, the ones that sincerely believe, you were called to believe. Okay, you wasn't called to this truth to have no faith. You was called to this truth to have faith and to increase it in the spirit and belief in Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. Let's make that clear. That's very important to recognize, man. Okay. To acknowledge. All right. Now, let's go into the testimony. As I stated before, it happened 15 to 16 years ago. Okay. And I was teaching in Fort Worth. I had a camp in Fort Worth, me and my brother. Okay. Before I became part of the Dallas camp. Okay. Before that. All right. We had plans just to visit back and forth, go to Dallas 1 week, fellowship, maybe once a month, twice a month. So in Fort Worth, it's totally different, man, the way they operate. So we were going to jail a lot, teaching, doing this work in Fort Worth. Okay, they're different, man. All right, when you have a cop while you're teaching, okay, go to your ear, close to your ear, and say, you nigger, it's a different ball game. All right, and I'll tell more jail stories in the future, Lord willing, because I have a lot of them. Okay, but I'm going to deal with this testimony here. So one day it was time for camp. Okay, on camp day. And pretty much we were in a rush, so I didn't get to eat no food. So I was in the spirit like, you know what? I'm going to serve the Lord and I will eat afterwards. I'll be good. Just tough it out. And you got to do that, in this truth, man. Okay, got to be strong. So I toughed it out. And right before camp closed, we got arrested, okay, on some bullshit. They arrested us, all right? And when I went to jail, and I think hours later, I went to go see the judge. It was me and like maybe 12, 13 other guys. Okay, so we're in line to go see the judge. And when we go there, the judge is calling one by one, individually at a time, and telling the charge and, what the judgment is, et cetera, et cetera. So when he called me up there, he's looking at the ticket and whatever he's looking at face down. So I'm sitting there just waiting. He ain't looking at me yet. When he looks up, when I tell you this man's face, this Edomite's face was like a red jalapeno, man. It was glowing red, man. Okay. He might have been the first Edomite created. Okay. When we read, that's Esau right there. That's how he looked. It was that red. Never seen it that red before. So he looks up and he goes, calling the white man the devil. Now, all the guys that came to see the judge are behind me. And you can tell they're like, okay, what's going on? So I'm trying to explain myself to him. He's like, calling the white man the devil. And after that, I'm trying to explain again. He ain't let me explain. Basically, you full of shit, nigga. You going to jail. Pretty much is how he treated me. And he goes, 4 days in jail. I'm like, 4 days? I'm thinking I'm finna go home. He gives me 4 days. Now, 4 represents mercy, right? So at the time, I wasn't thinking about that at the time. I'm just like, 4 days in jail, this is bullshit. I got a job to go to. I got to call my manager. I got to call, you got to call people, make sure everything's straight. So my heart's beating fast. I'm pissed off. And you can tell the other guys, they knew it was bullshit. They knew it. Like, they knew this was bullshit. And they said, so you only here because you were teaching? Oh, man, they did you wrong, man. That's messed up. Jake talking. So after that got done, we all went back to the cell that we came from. And now I'm waiting to be transferred to Mansfield jail to sit out those 4 days. So we're waiting on the van. So the van gets us, drives us to Mansfield jail. And I go to the holding cell there. Now, at this holding cell, there's only one person in there, Issacharite, one person. So now it's me and him in there. It's like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm starving. My stomach is turning. I'm just like hungry as shit. Because keep in mind, I haven't eaten yet all day, pretty much, okay? So they come in with the lunches for me and him, the sack lunches, okay? So they give me the sack lunch, and all I have is it's the brown paper bag lunch. All that's in there is a carton of milk, the school carton of milk. Not gonna drink that bullshit. They had a bologna sandwich with cheese. I wasn't gonna eat that bullshit. Okay. But the Issacharite, he wanted the sandwich. So I wasn't gonna argue with him, though it's pork. I said, whatever, here, And we had the grandma cookies that come in, in 2. Right? So it's a pack with 2 cookies in there. The grandma cookies, chocolate chip. So at the time, I'm like, okay, I'm going to eat these, man. This is the only thing I want to eat in here, man. Nothing else. So I put the cookie down. I didn't open the package yet. I just sit it down, gave him his sandwich, right? Had the carton of milk sitting there. Wasn't going to drink that. And I balled up the paper sack that the food came in and set it to the side. Just giving y'all the reality. Everything that happened, man. I don't want to miss nothing. And so I'm looking at the sky just thinking like, damn, I got to call my job. I got to call... my responsibilities I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about how the fuck I get here for 4 days. It's bullshit. All I can see is that Edomite face in my head, calling the white man the devil. That's all I can see for a minute. So I'm mad, right? So I'm looking up, right? And as I'm looking up thinking like, man, this is bullshit. All of a sudden, I hear a sound. Okay, like something fell out of the sky out of nowhere. Okay, like a paper, like you can hear, it's a sound I heard. And when I looked down, the grandma cookies, it had doubled. Now there's 2 sets of grandma cookies, man. So it doubled. So I'm like, what the? Because what made me look down is I heard it fall. That's what made me look down. Before that, I'm just pissed off looking at the sky like, fuck, what I'm going to do? A little worried, which I should not have been worried. You got to have faith in all situations. Okay, but at that moment, I was kind of like, damn. And it's truth, it get that way at times. So when I seen that the cookies doubled, I was trying to process what I just saw. And I picked it up, and now I'm holding 2 cookies. And I'm looking at the Issacharite. He's really not paying attention. And I asked him the question. I said, hey, because my mind is really like, I'm amazed, like beyond belief right now. Like I'm just like out there. So I asked the Issacharite, I said, hey, was there any other food in here when I came in here? Even though I know I heard it fall. I know I seen the doubles. I know when I put the cookie down, there was only 1 package. I know that. I was that starving. I made sure it was in that bag and I took it out and balled up the bag. Okay. But even then I still was like tripped out. So I asked him just to ask him. And he was like, man, if there was more food in here, I would have ate it already. That's what he said, laughing, we was laughing about it. And I was just stunned. So I ate them cookies. I was happy as hell, man. And after that, they came in there and took us to the other cell, the main cell, right? And then from there, my spirit was so lifted. I didn't give a shit I was in jail no more. I didn't care about my job no more. I didn't give a shit about nothing. I was like, I was serving the Lord. I got arrested. Forget them. I'm going to go in here and teach. I was on fire. Okay. And that's when I start teaching in jail, and the whole jail cell, I'm talking about everybody, was coming to me, crowding around me, asking questions in the spirit. And behind the plexiglass, you have like the officers, they're watching what's going on. So they come in the room and say, what's going on? What's going on? They're thinking like we doing some conniving stuff, you know, doing some bullshit. And they telling them, man, we just listening to him, man. Ain't nothing going on, man. Stop tripping, you know, Jake. So they said, okay, we're just checking, because it looked weird how everybody started crowding around me. But the spirit did that. Okay. And, you know, I was teaching them. I was drawing murals around the wall, right? I had drew a mural on the wall of chariots and missiles and the city. I'm talking about a whole wall, because they had pens in there. So I got one of them. So I started writing pretty much on the whole wall, spaceships, military troops, walking and driving Humvees, and missiles with Russia on it, missiles with China on it. I drew a missile with Iran on it, like nukes. Okay, and I'm drawing the city of Dallas, and they're coming asking me all these questions like, why are you drawing that? What's that? Why you got a missile of that? What do you mean? So you mean to tell me nukes gonna come? And so I'm asking all these questions, and then they're telling their homeboys in jail, hey man, come over here, man. This dude talking about some crazy stuff, man. Come over here, man. It's tripping me out, man. So that's how they all got gathered, because everybody was telling everybody what I was saying. Okay. And pretty much my 4 days was just teaching. Okay. There's more to it, but I'll stop it there as far as that. I'm sure I can tell some more stuff about that jail trip. But the main point of the lesson is the cookie doubled. Okay. And I was in a jail cell after the fact, sleeping. I was giggling, pretty much laughing in my head, saying, man, what if he gave me a steak dinner with potatoes and carrots and and a fancy plate, and the cops come in there, the jail guards come in there and see that shit? They be like, what the? You know, I'm just thinking about, you know, I'm meditating and tripping out, you know, and overall just thankful, man, and more faithful. So for you brothers that come down here and visit Dallas, and brothers do it often, and you come up to me, you say, hey, brothers, you know, brothers do it often. They give me praise about speaking about faith, you know, over the past years very heavily, you know, and the impact of it. And so part of my walk and part of me speaking about faith heavily, okay, is what I went through the spirit. Okay, the experience I have, okay, plays a big part of why I speak about faith so much, because of my experience. Okay, want to make that clear. All right, now let's go into, real quick, let's go into the Apocrypha, chapter 1, the Bell and the Dragon. And let's start at verse 33. Okay, this is after Daniel was in the lion's den for like 6 days at this point. All right, but I'm going to get to the point. Now let's start at verse 33. It says, now there was a Jew, a prophet called Habakkuk, who had made pottage and had broken bread in a bowl and was going into the field for to bring it to the reapers. But the angel of the Lord said unto Habakkuk, go and carry the dinner that thou hast into Babylon unto Daniel, who was in the lion's den. And Habakkuk said, Lord, I never saw Babylon, neither do I know where the den is. Imagine that. He like, I don't know where this place at. How I'm going to get there? Okay, I don't know where Babylon's at, and I don't know where this den is at in Babylon. So I'm lost. I ain't got no GPS. Verse 36. Then the angel of the Lord took him by the crown and bare him by the hair of his head. Imagine that. Okay, he took him by the crown of his hair. Okay, think about that, man. The crown of his head, his hair. He grabbed him hard too. Because it says here, it says, and through the vehemency of his spirit. And when you look at vehemency, it's like forceful. Okay, urgent, forceful, quick, powerful. Okay, so he did it very strong. Okay, so Habakkuk was like, oh shit, you know. You can imagine in real time, man. Okay, so, and through the vehemency of his spirit, set him in Babylon over the den. And Habakkuk cried, saying, O Daniel, Daniel, take the dinner which Yahawah hath sent thee. And Daniel said, thou hast remembered me, O Yahawah, neither hast thou forsaken them that seek thee and love thee. And we all got to remember that right there. If you seek the Lord, you must believe that he is. Okay, it's impossible to please him without faith. You must believe that he is. Okay, he will reward you for seeking him, man. Okay, he will come through. If you trust the Lord, he will come through, man. YAHAWASHI is not a liar. Okay, and that testimony that I just spoke about, he came through for me. He knew I was hungry. He knew I didn't eat all day. He knew it. Okay, but when I look back, I'm happy as hell that Edomite gave me 4 days. Because if he didn't give me 4 days, I wouldn't be able to tell you, brothers and sisters, this testimony. Okay? I wouldn't be able to tell you. Okay, so when you look back in this walk of yours and what you have been through, think about that, man. Think about the things that would have not happened to build you up if the other stuff didn't happen. That's why you got to have faith. That's why you can't be discouraged by the sight and let that be the end all be all. Okay, have patience. Let patience have a perfect work. Go through the process because it's YAHAWASHI doing it overall at the end of the day. He put the spirit on that Edomite to say 4 days in jail. Okay, the Lord did that at the end of the day. All right, so these things are written for our learning. That's why I went to the story. It's written for our learning. Okay, verse 39. So Daniel arose and did eat, and the angel of the Lord set Habakkuk in his own place again immediately. Right, man, forcefully. All right, by the crown of his head. He grabbed it again and boom. All right. Now let's end it on this. Matthew chapter 6. I'll get to the point. Verse 28. It says, and why take you thought for raiment? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow, and they toil not, neither do they spin. And yet I say unto you, that even Solomon in all of his glory was not arrayed like one of these. Wherefore, if YAHAWASHI so clothe the grass of the field, which today is, and tomorrow is cast into the oven, shall he not much more clothe you, O you little of faith? Right, man. So he's calling us to trust fully 100% on YAHAWASHI. Okay. It says, oh, you little of faith. Stop overthinking. You either trust the Lord or you don't. You either understand that everything is in his hands or you don't. You either understand YAHAWASHI. If he be for you, who could be against you? You either understand that or you don't. Okay. You either understand Psalms 34:7, the angels encamped around him that fear him to deliver you from your troubles. Either you understand that or you don't. Okay, we have to grow glory to glory. We got to take, a tighter grip on this, man. Verse 31. It says, therefore take no thought saying, what shall we eat? Or what shall we drink? Or withal shall we be clothed? For after all these things do the Gentiles seek. For your heavenly Father, Yahweh, knoweth that you have need of all these things. Right. Okay, so the Lord knew I needed to eat something. Okay. And really, when I think about it, that 1 pack of cookies could have been enough. Think about that. He could have just had me just eat that. And then, I would have to wait some more hours before breakfast. But still, he could have said that's sufficient, son. He didn't do that. He doubled the cookies. Talk about compassion. Talk about mercy. Talk about the care for his elect. Okay. And I say hope for elect because I still have to endure. All right. No matter what testimony I tell you, brothers and sisters, no matter what, if I don't finish, it don't mean shit. Okay. I want to make that clear. We have to finish, man. He that endured to the end, the same shall be saved. So I understand that. Okay. And we all got to understand that. All right. So through the Spirit, I hope you will edify through the Spirit. Okay. And Lord willing, if the Spirit's on me to tell more of these testimonies and more jail stories, I will. Oh, I don't want to leave this out. So it took me 7 years to tell anybody this story. Okay. This testimony, by the way, it was me and Eliashawamba in his backyard. We were just sitting, chilling, talking. And I got real quiet. I said, man, something I got to tell you. He was like, what? And I was like, but it's going to be up there, man. It's going to be up there. I ain't told nobody yet. Okay. At this point, I'm already in the camp in Dallas. Okay. I left Fort Worth. I was going to jail too much. So the Spirit had a word, just stay in Dallas. Okay. Just join Dallas. And that's what I did. Again, this was 15, 16 years ago. Something like that. So yeah, I told him that. And I remember his face. He was like, damn. Oh, he was like, damn, that's, ooh, shit. He had that funny look on his face. Anybody know Yahshua, y'all know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so that's when I first told it before I did, that's the first person I told. Just throwing that out there through the Spirit. But hope you guys were edified, you brothers and you sisters that are sincere. So I want to give all praises and honor to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM QADASH. Forgive me the Spirit to do this testimony. Double honors to the elders of Great Millstone. And shalom to you, Akam out there that's doing the truth and sincerity. Shalom.
When I was in the Hebrew